Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to my channel, Forever Altered. It's New Year's Day, January 1st, 2018, and I'm sitting here reflecting on my life and my life with a narcissist. And the thought occurred to me that my life has been hijacked. The life I intended to live, set out to live at the beginning of this relationship, quote, never came to fruition. It was hijacked, and now I'm living some life that I didn't intend. So I'm thinking back, and I remember, when I first met my narc. I'm just going to say him because it sounds a little less terrible. I was at a low point, of course, because they're experts at seeing that. And I had just ended a 3-year relationship. Actually, I had been married almost 25 years, and then I lost my son, and the marriage didn't survive that, and I sort of ran after a long history of things that happened after that, and I ended up in a short relationship that wasn't right for me, and I quickly figured that out, and I ended it. And so there I was, alone and not really sure of the direction of my life, and in walks the narc. He was down on his luck and needy, whatever, but he was very nice looking. He is very nice looking, but he's in love with himself, so that kind of squelched that after a while. But in the beginning, he was nice to look at. He comes in strong with the love bombing and connecting with you and listening to your stories and letting you talk, and all the while you think that you're connecting and things are going well, but the reality is that he's storing up information that he can use to plow you over with later. And at the time you don't know that, so at the time you're very forthcoming with everything. You're truthful and honest and forthcoming about your past relationships, your children, issues, all the things that you would just talk to someone that was a confidant, that was a trusted partner. you tell them. So, in the beginning, I felt like we were connecting. He is very artistic, and I also am very artistic. I like to make things, whatever. And he actually drew a portrait of my son when he was a baby. I had a picture, and he he drew it, a carbon copy of it, so it looked exactly like him, only it was a drawing, and it touched me, and it meant something to me, so I felt like we were getting close. And he started staying at my house, and it got to be where he paid a few months of his rent. Well, actually, let's be honest. I paid a few months of his rent at his apartment, trying to keep the apartment door open in case things didn't work out, but he was taking the money, and he didn't actually pay the rent, so he lost the apartment, and the next thing I know, he's at my house, and he has nowhere to go. So, and I had seen some signs. I had seen some inappropriate behavior, some boundary crossing, like, dictating what I shouldn't do or wear or say. And, of course, you explain it away, right? Everybody knows about that. Anyway, so I guess it happens slowly and covertly. They slowly and covertly take over your life. At first he was coming into my home, and he was staying at my home, and I felt I felt empathy for him. I wanted him. The house he was in, the apartment he was in, was not good. Let's just say it had many things wrong with it. It was not suitable to be living in, truthfully. I mean, the board of whatever, health or whatever, would have not allowed these people to rent this building out to him. But, his rent was super cheap, and he was mostly working and repairing it to stay there. So I get why he was there. He had nowhere else to go. But I felt bad because of the circumstances that he was in, and so I kept inviting him over. Well, just come over here. We'll just stay here. Well, I had never in my life encountered someone like him, so I was an open book, and I was trying to be kind, and he jumped. And he told me at first. He said things that I should have known were a problem. He said, I told myself when I met you that this was going to be different. I wasn't going to use you. And I thought, man, I didn't understand the depth of that comment, let's just say. I didn't know how people use other people deliberately, like you deliberately set out to use someone. I had no clue that existed in this world, but I should have known. So I think even in giving him the benefit of the doubt, I think he and possibly other narcs do understand their behavior and their modus whatever operandi. I think they sometimes they try to, I'm going to do this different this time, but they can't. They go back to what they know, and what they know is using people and just securing supply, so to speak. Anyway, so the control over the home sort of came slowly. First there were issues with my kids. My kids were mostly out of the house, getting ready to get out of the house. There were issues and fights and signs that, early on made me think, I need to get out of here. After my daughter was born, I actually went and stayed at one of my apartments for, I think, about 4 months. I'm fortunate. I have rentals, so I had a place to go. I literally set up a safe place to go because, he had demonstrated extreme rage on several occasions, and at one particular night where I actually feared for my life, and someone called the police, and they did a well check on me. So I think that the screaming must have been that loud. He was yelling at me. And I know that my daughter was a baby. It was Thanksgiving Day, because I'll never forget that. But and the police actually came and took me out of the house. So there were lots of things leading up, but I was the one that was leaving, and it was my house, and I was the one that was leaving. And he would tell me, "You have to evict me. If you want me out, you have to evict me." And I know the law, I know the process, and it's 30 days and whatnot. Well, for someone who's terrified, who wants the person out of their house, who is not sure that their threats are, just threats or real possibilities, because he was literally telling me, if you take my daughter away from me, I will kill you. He said, I will slit your throat. He said different things, and I didn't know if it was true or if it was all talk. So, I left, and here, I leave, I come back, I leave. I still can't bring myself to say, I'm going to the police and I'm getting a restraining order and I am evicting you. And in my shoes, I could figure out a place to go until that happened. It's a little difficult because I'm a business owner, so I have to be able to be where my business is, which means he would know where I was. He would know how to find me very easily, and that scares me if he's in that mode. When he's here and calm and everything's hunky-dory, he's not in that mode. He doesn't behave threateningly. So, in my mind, it's like one of these days I'm going to have to push it to that point, over the limit, where, it's do or die, we're doing this, and that's what it will mean. But anyway, so I noticed the control came slowly, and it got to be where my kids couldn't come to the house because they had had words with him, and he tried to say that, my one daughter was inappropriate with him, let's just say. And he knew her history. She's adopted, and he knew some of the things that, she had been through and whatnot. And so he manipulated those around and to try to put a wedge between her and I. And slowly and methodically, he did that basically to 2 out of 3 of my daughters. I have 4 daughters, one with him, but my 3 other daughters. And as it stands now, only one of them is allowed at my house because of him. But fortunately, I have a house, a small 2-bedroom house that sits behind the house I live in. And I have my office in there. And I have made it into a little home, a comfortable little place. And when I want to see my kids, that's where I have them meet me, so that we are not in the big house. And truthfully, I wouldn't talk in front of him anyway. I wouldn't relax and talk with my girls in front of him anyway, because I know he's information gathering all the time, and later he would throw everything I said back in my face and twist everything around to make something bad and ugly out of it. So it works better anyway, I guess, and maybe that's justifying, I don't know. Anyway, so now he has pretty much control of this home that I pay for and that I pay the bills for. And every time there's an argument and I get to the point where I say, look, you've got to get out of here, I can't do this anymore, he is extremely angry and tells me that he's worked hard for this place, and why should he have nothing. And I've tried to say, because you didn't buy this house 11 years ago, I did. I've been the one paying on this house way before I ever met you. And it's not my fault that you have done nothing but live off of other people, so therefore you haven't established anything of your own. Sad to say that this person, even he was given a home by his grandma, given a house by his grandma, and he couldn't even keep it because because he got in trouble and ran. So anyway, they isolate you from your family and your friends, and mine isolates me as best he can, but I fight back pretty hard. And so I have my life outside of this house, and I come into this house, and I'll play by his rules while I'm here. And I've told him before, you think that I have a life sentence with you because we have a daughter, but I will tell you that she'll be 18 someday. And once she's 18, and once she moves out of this house, there is nothing any more keeping me tied to you. And I feel that way, and I still feel that way. And I mean, if there was a way for him to change and be a decent person, then because of my nature, because of my forgiving nature, I would forgive. I know I would, but I think that's doubtful that will ever happen. So they withhold everything from you, and they do it slowly to where you adjust, and you shrink back your expectations, and you accommodate for them, and you of course forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive, and you allow them to do what they want, and you keep your mouth shut, and you don't complain, and you don't look for fights, and you do your very best to just keep the peace, and you make exceptions, and you do all those things that allow them to continue tightening in the reins of withholding from you. And they just keep lowering the bar and watching you, struggle to get under it and figure out a way to make it look like it's okay still. And then one day you realize that all those good qualities that you saw in them to begin with, that you thought existed, they were really just mirroring you. They were mirroring what you liked and how you are and what you enjoy. And that was painfully aware. I am painfully aware of that today, because like I said, I create, I craft, I do a lot of things. One of the businesses I own is a flower/gift shop. It's a very small little shop that sits by my other bigger store, and it's really exists there for my enjoyment. I like to create things, and so I create and I sell out of there what I create. And I've done, can't even tell if you can see it or not, but that window, and I do a lot of dream catchers, and I've done all kinds of really cool dream catchers, and I use those as Christmas gifts, and I'm working on one right now. There it is. It's just the middle. But anyway, so those are the things I like to do, and he suddenly decided that he wanted to make dream catchers. So for the past 4 days, he has sat in the middle of the living room floor cranking out these dream catchers. He gets to points where he doesn't know how to do it, or he can't do the middle, and he will give it to me and have me do the middle. The interesting thing is that he is telling his family that he's making them himself, and the reality is yeah, he is, but you would think he would at least mention me because he's not doing it on his own. But there again, I am irrelevant in the equation as far as he's concerned, so he never mentions me at all. I'm non-existent basically. So I think that he figured me out quick enough to know what was I looking for. That's what I think. What was I in need of? And then he tried to transform himself into that. And maybe he wasn't even as talented and artistic as I thought he was. I mean, I see that he drew that drawing, but I don't know. I thought it was a bigger part of him, I guess. And now when I look back, I think he was just mirroring me. He was mirroring the things I enjoy so that I looked like a good partner to him. And so that I thought that there was something of value and quality there to pursue. And which I find funny because when we first got together, I was very clear about what I was looking for. I had, like I said, been in a long-term marriage, 24 and a half years. Excuse me. And I told him right from the start, I want to be married. I'm not a good single person. I don't like it. I'm too old to be, a single person. My preference is to be a partner to someone and to work together and a common goal and have, a goal. I told him that I wanted to be able to move to warmer weather in the winter, and that I loved the water and I wanted to be by the water. So, the possibility of Texas or Florida or something. His family lives in Texas, but one of those areas would be perfect for me. And these are the things I wanted, and these are the things I told him were my hopes and my dreams. And today I realized that my whole life has been hijacked. I am sitting here freezing my butt off in Indiana because I can't even go on vacation without causing a scene. Like, I used to go on vacation every 6 months. I used to go somewhere, even if it was just a weekend away in, an inexpensive motel, it was somewhere. And I can't do that. When I do, I create a huge mess. Like, he's so angry at me, like you'd think I killed someone. So I have to live my life according to the rules that he has set forth, and what he dictates to be acceptable, and the standards that he believes are important. And my hopes and my dreams and my plans for the future are all hidden away on hold until I'm free of him, because there's no reconciling what I want with him in my life. It's not possible. I want a partner. I want someone who cares about me and who treasures me and who believes in me and my accomplishments. And I want someone who wants to touch me, wants to put their hand on me or their arm around me. And he's none of those things. I sat here last night and he sat and worked on his dream catchers, and it's like I'm not really in the room. If I sit over by him on the couch, he makes me feel like I'm encroaching on his space. So I move away, and he seems happier to keep me at a distance. He hates touch. He doesn't like to be touched. He doesn't want his back rubbed. He doesn't want his hand held. He doesn't want any type of physical emotion. He doesn't want it, unless it's, of course, it's his daughter, and then he can hug her and hold her hand and play with her and all the things that a normal person should experience, but not with me. So he just continues to lower the bar and lower the bar until such point that there's nothing left. And we fight a lot less because I don't give him any reason to fight. When he texts and accuses and so forth, I don't even respond anymore. I don't even respond back. Like, where I'm at work, I just act like I don't notice the attitude. And then, I might say, sorry, it was, with a salesperson, whatever. And I never acknowledge the crappy tone that he has. So just something to think about. How has the narc hijacked your life? And how have you squelched your hopes and your dreams, and put them on the back burner and hidden them away and locked them away somewhere for better days? How have you succumbed to your hijacking? So that's all. I hope you have a wonderful holiday and a great new year, and hopefully we will all be narc free soon. Peace.